Give it to him. 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 Now slide to the beat like. Give it to him. 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 I be cutting up like. Move to the beat like. Move to the beat like. Move to the beat. Now slide to the beat like. Move to the beat. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to My Curvy Life with your host, Miss Fonda Cross, coming to you on today. I also would like to bring you greetings from my co-hosts, Miss Lasagna and Latanya Jones. Those ladies work really hard in the audience. They are going to be loving on you, reviewing your comments, and I just thank them for all they do. I want to, first of all, say thank you guys for your support throughout the year of 2024. Nothing happens without you. The show is going wonderfully. You guys are such big supporters, and I cannot make it happen without you. So I thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you, guests that were on the show in 2024. I am looking for bigger and better things in 2025, y'all. Moving up into the horizon, whatever the good Lord says, I am game. I'm open for it. So thank you for your support. I want to just say, before we let our wonderful guest in, I'm so excited about having her on the show and appreciating her for saying yes. I want to let you guys know the next feed for the homeless is going to be in April. I do like to do the feed in April because that is my birthday month and I like to give back on that month. So the next feed will be in April. Dates are to be announced, but just if you want to mark your calendars, please mark April as the month for giving back to our homeless, okay? And feeding them something good. I also want to let you know, Mary Kay Cosmetics, I am a skin coach. Y'all already know if you need any assistance with getting that skin in perfect condition, I'm your girl. So I look forward to hearing from you in that capacity as well. I am not going to behold the time here. I'm going to go ahead and let our guest in. I'm so excited. I'm going to go ahead and read her bio. We have Miss Sylvia Crawley Span. I hope I said her name correctly. She can correct me. She is a former WNBA player, y'all. She NCAA champion, y'all, and a global coach. She is a best-selling author for her book. She's going to talk about that, I'm sure. And she is famous for her blindfold dunk. Okay. She empowers individuals and teams with leadership, confidence, and resilience, inspiring success in both sports and corporate arenas. So let's not hold her up with further ado here. Let's get her in. Give me just a second. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much
Hey,
for being on the show. And yes, you said my name correctly. It's Span, Sylvia Crawley Span. So thank you for that.
you are welcome. It's so nice to have you on the show today. Thank you for saying yes to me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So
No
let's jump
problem.
right.
I appreciate your persistence because you saw me speak at an event and you were relentless. Like you were determined to get me here, and we are here. So I'm
Yes,
excited today.
I definitely enjoyed that event. Girl, I still got notes from that event, okay, that I'm rereading over and over again. I appreciate good leadership, good, advice, good inspiration. I appreciate all that. So thank you. So I'm so excited. I just want to get into everything. But let's jump right into it. And let's start with, where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Steubenville, Ohio. It's near West Virginia and Pennsylvania, so on that side of the state. And I was raised in a city that was like a true village. So I grew up on Sherman Avenue was the name of my street, and every parental figure on that street was allowed to parent me. They had the green light to spank me, call my mom, they could discipline me, and then when I got home, I got disciplined again, so discipline was double for me everywhere I went. I also had teachers that were eyes and ears for my parents. So I just had a village wrapped all the way around me to make sure that I was doing what I was supposed to do and that I wasn't acting out of character or a bad reflection of my family. And so, as a kid, that was annoying because I felt like, dang, y'all all in my business. But as an
Right.
adult, yeah, as an adult, I'm super grateful because I was a mischievous kid, and I was a hyperactive kind of kid. They didn't have all these little labels that they give kids now, but I probably would have been put in a box of like ADHD as a kid. I just had lots of energy. And so my parents really did a remarkable job, Fonda, of getting me involved in activities in my city where my energy level and my height was seen as something positive versus yell at me for being into everything and being active and sit down and shut up and the kids would be seen and not heard. They got me involved where I could use that energy. And they knew I was going to be tall. So I went to school when I was 4 years old. I went to school early. I passed the test.
Wow.
I could have went when I was 3 because I had older siblings. So they taught
Mhm.
me everything. And I had a huge vocabulary. I talked like I was grown because I was around grown folks all the time. So, like, for example, in kindergarten, I would say, evidently, I don't want to take my nap.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously, I'm not hungry yet for lunch. So I went to school when I was 4 and I still towered over the boys and girls. I was still in the back of the line. When you go to recess, you got to line up smallest to tallest. I was in the back of the line as a 4-year-old, and there were 6-year-olds in my class, right? So my parents, they knew that I was going to be really tall, and they got me involved. And I was in dancing school by the age of 2. I was taking piano lessons at 4. I was in modeling school at the age of 5. And all of those things, you had to have long fingers for piano. You had to be tall to model.
Yeah.
Dancing school just made me graceful. So as I started to grow, I wasn't that awkward tall person. Like I had rhythm and I was coordinated. And so my upbringing started in Steubenville, Ohio, where some good roots were planted early in my life. And, I kind of went through life where I wanted to experiment to figure out what's best for me. Like, am I just
Mhm.
going to this church because I grew up in this religion, or like, what do I believe? And so, I did my own research, I did my own thing, but at the end of the day, I came back to my roots. It was like, yeah, I do believe in this, or I do think this is the right way. And after
Mhm.
seeing how things played out for other people who didn't have the same kind of upbringing that I had, then I was able to appreciate the people who were around me, the wisdom that I had around me. And so that helped me tremendously.
I love the fact that you said a village. You grew up with a village where everybody kind of had a say so in your upbringing and teaching you and helping you and telling on you. If you misbehave. Um, so growing up in that aspect, when did you realize that you had something special as far as your sportsmanship with basketball? When did you realize that?
First of all, I didn't realize I was tall. On my street, we had there was so many kids on my street, right? And there
Uh-huh.
were kids that were like small. We had like my brother, we were raised as brother and sister, but he was diagnosed as a dwarf, right? He had to take hormone pills to grow. We had a little boy in our neighborhood that was deaf and couldn't hear. So everybody learned sign language. And then I was tall. We had a special needs girl across the street. So we had a variety of all kinds of people on our block, and we all accepted each other, right? It was like it was no big deal that I was like towering over everybody. That's just who I was. That's how I was made. So when I got
Mhm.
to school, I didn't even realize I was tall. I mean, I was just blessed to have friends that right on my block that, didn't pick on me and didn't tease me for being
Right.
tall. I just was Sylvia, right? And so It wasn't until I started going to like dances, school dances, like the ball or the prom, and I had to wear heels. And that's when I realized, like, wow, I am towering over everybody. But in terms of sports, I didn't really realize the talent that I had until I started being heavily recruited. And this was by maybe my junior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was I went to camp. I went to a summer camp my sophomore year, at the end of my sophomore year. And my whole team was going to camp at Ohio State. That was the big camp in my area. And at this camp, I couldn't get a rebound. I couldn't block a shot. Like, there were girls my height, bigger, stronger than me. And prior to that, being tall had made me lazy. I felt like I didn't have to work hard. But at this camp, there were other girls my height who were better and stronger and faster than me. And that was the best thing that could ever happen to me. It was a wake up.
Competition.
Yeah, it was like, listen, I'm not good. I'm not good at all. These girls are good, you know. But I just needed to get out of my little city, you know, and go to the state camp. This was the Ohio State camp, was people from all over the state. So I got exposed, right? And so I went home, and when I got home, they wrote a letter and they said, "Thank you for coming to our camp. We think you have potential to play collegiately someday. Can you fill out this questionnaire?" And I was like, whoa. They think I could play in college? Now, prior to that, my mom had sat me down and she was like, look, you need a plan, because we put your brother and your sister through school and we ain't got not one red dime saved for you. One red cent saved for you, right? So you need to come up with a plan. I was like, I'm an 8th grader. What do you mean a plan? Like, I'm a kid.
Right.
So when they wrote that letter saying they thought I could play collegiately, I was like, oh, this is going to be my plan. So I went to my mom and said, Mom, look at this letter that they wrote me. I said, I think I want to get a basketball scholarship, and that's going to be my plan. She said, okay, well, go to school, tell your coaches what your plan is, and ask them to help you. So that was the first thing. Ask for mentorship. So I went to school and I told my coaches, I said, the Ohio State wrote me this letter and they told me to fill out this questionnaire so that they could recruit me. And I want to get a basketball scholarship. And they said, well, it's going to take a lot of work. We got to change your shot. You don't want to bend your knees on defense like we told you. I said, I'm going to bend my camp. I couldn't play defense because my knees weren't bent. So I really had to like be coachable and listen and let them mentor me and pour into me. And they did just that. And they held me accountable to what I said I wanted. And there were times where it got hard. And they were like, I thought you said you wanted to get a scholarship. And I'm like, they keep throwing that in my face. But that's what I said I wanted, you know, but I didn't want to go through the process that it took to get what my mouth was saying. You know, a lot of young people say, I want to be famous and I want to be the best and I want to be, but yeah, it takes a lot to do that.
Hard work.
It takes a lot of hard work, and we have no idea what it takes to get there. But they were able to push me beyond what I thought I could be pushed. And by my junior year, I was being recruited by over 250 schools.
Oh my God.
Our mailbox would be jam-packed. I mean, they would just shove these letters in there that my mom was like, we're going to have to get another mailbox just for Sylvia because she's getting all the letters. I'm talking Ivy League schools where I was not a 4.0 student. So I'm like, but they were willing to admit me in these schools so that I could play basketball. So my mom was like, listen, these schools are wanting her to take college prep AP courses in order to be admitted. Whereas at my school, you had to be in an honors program to take those classes. So my mom said, listen, all of these schools are recruiting my daughter and she can't get in. The devil is a lie. I need y'all to let her in these classes. And so they said, Miss Crowley, normally it's just our honors student. She said, well, put her in honors then. So when school started, she said, I want you sitting up front too, because these kids been together since 6th grade. And now you're in high school and they've been pushing them along all this time. So you got to play catch up in these classes. So sit in front, you can pay attention because those kids are smart. So school started, I was right up front with my back straight and kids were looking at me like, who is this person? Well, I'm taking AP courses with you guys. And so as I started to be recruited, schools started coming to watch me play at my high school. They never once asked how many points I scored, how many rebounds I averaged. They already knew that. they were asking stuff fun that I didn't even think they were going to ask. They wanted to know how many times I have been sent to detention, how many times I have been expelled from school. They wanted to know my attendance record. Was I every Monday, was I mysteriously sick and having my mom call me out of school, or was I in school every day? Thank God I had perfect attendance in high school. Now, I missed a couple classes here or there, but I never missed a whole day. You know what I mean? Like I might have had a doctor's appointment, my mom called me out, dentist appointment, but my mom and dad worked every single day. They were blue collar workers in the steel mill.
Yeah.
So me staying home meant they couldn't work. If they couldn't work, we couldn't eat. Like,
Right. So you're going to school.
listen, wasn't no missing school for none of us in my family. I had asthma, and one time they called an ambulance and sent me to the hospital. My mom said, "Listen here." She sent me to school with a bag of paper bags. She said, "If she's having an asthma attack, put this paper bag on her face. Call me. I work right around the corner. I will come and get her. Don't call no ambulance. You know how much ambulance costs."
Suffer, girl. You gonna suffer for this.
Listen, but I did not miss. And so, what the school I ended up going to, the University of North Carolina, one of the main reasons why they recruited me was because I had perfect attendance. They said, "Listen,
Wow.
invest thousands of dollars in your scholarship. We cannot afford to invest people that won't wake up and go to class every day because your mom and dad won't be here. You got to be responsible enough to get your own self up, get your own self dressed, and make it to class every day." And so that was one of the things that they were impressed with by me. But that's when I started to realize, like, okay, I might have a chance to really get this scholarship. And my village saw all these schools flying in to see me, saw them at my game, and they were like, "Listen, you got a chance to get out of here, and we're not going to let you blow it even if you try." So I remember I went to a house party. I rode with some friends in their car. And all my friends got in the house party. And when it came to me, they were like, no, you can't come in here. And I was like, why? Oh, my friends are in there. Why can't I come in there? They were like, you got to go somewhere else, but you're not coming in here. And I was like, but I rode with them. Like, how am I going to get home? We call your mom. I was like,
they didn't let you in the party.
They didn't let me in that party because they felt like there was something in that party that I didn't need to be involved with. You know, there were times a fight was going to break out around our school down the street, and all the kids would be rushing to see the fight. And we're in the hallway. We just running out after school. My coach would be there, and my locker was right beside my coach's classroom. So he saw a pack of kids running, and I'm tall, so you could spot me out miles away, right? I'm sticking out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Shoulder, like, where you going? I'm like, I was going down the street. No. You know, we got our rival team we play tomorrow. If you go down there and get caught up in that fight, you're not going to play. You're going to get sent to detention. And you know our rules. You get sent to detention, you're not playing. So I had to just back on out. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't follow the crowd.
They saw something in you. They saw something in you and they wanted something for you. So they were pushing that you were going to do the right thing. And they was going to help you do the right thing.
And so this happened so much, Fonda, that I resented it at the time. Like I just couldn't understand. And my mom would say, like, you're a leader. You can't do what the other kids are doing. And I just wanted to be a kid. I just wanted to, you know, goof off and do what everybody else was doing. But I was like, there was a certain, like, it was almost like my mom was saying, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes.
So I felt like, why do I have to be the responsible one? Why do I always have to, you know, she's like, you can't cut the line. Like, I have friends that would cut the line and get to the front of the line. She's like, you can't cut the line as big as you are. They're going to see you. You got to get to the back of the line. You know, kids steal bubble gum out the store. She's like, you can't. I'm going to catch your tall butt every single time. You know, it's like I couldn't just be a kid. And so I started to resent that. So when it was time to pick a college, I said, I'm going far. I'm going far away. So if y'all want to come visit me, y'all got to call me first. You know what I mean? Like, y'all not going to be at every game in my dorm room, you know? And so that's why part of the reason why I chose to go all the way to the University of North Carolina. I wanted to see a different side of the country. I felt like I've been in this city my whole life. It's a whole big world out there. And if they're going to
Yeah.
pay for me to go to school, I'm gonna go see it, you know? And so when I visited North Carolina, it was the Southern hospitality just won me over. In Ohio, if I don't know you and you don't know me, we could walk past each other in the street and not speak. But not down south, honey, they're gonna
Oh,
speak. They're gonna say,
mhm.
"Hey, how are you?" And that's not like a greeting, that's a question, and they're waiting on the answer. In Ohio, we say, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" It's not a question. Nobody's answering that question. It's like, "How you
Mhm.
doing? How you doing?" That just means hi. In the South, "How are you?" And they're waiting. I'm like, "Oh, like you you waiting on an answer? Oh, I'm good. I'm fine, thank you." That
Right,
was so
right.
different for me. The sweet tea and our Southern hospitality, I was like, "Where do I sign?"
Girl,
I mean,
don't even get me started on the sweet tea.
sign me up because I'm from Ohio where you gotta put sugar in your tea.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
it was just the warmth and just the everybody was like family down there. Like you can go over anybody's house to eat, you know. And
yes.
yeah, so my village saw that there was potential in me even when I didn't even see it in myself. And then my junior year, when all the schools started to recruit me and come to my school, they came to my house. They asked my neighbors, was I a good child around the neighborhood? So this
Girl,
thing,
did they offer you a new car to come to?
no, honey, that was
How
I
But
was
people that is they say sometimes when they want to get you, they'll offer you all kind of stuff to get you. You
oh,
know what I'm saying?
these athletes getting paid now. They got NIL money, cost of attendance checks. They weren't paying players like that, not for girls basketball back when I played. So they offered you an education, a free education,
Exactly.
some free gear and some Nike tennis shoes. And that was like the highlight right there. Like, oh, I get Nike tennis shoes. I get Michael Jordan tennis shoes, you know, sign me up. So yeah.
Wow. So getting into your career, you said you were in North Carolina. Now, um, you have so many accomplishments. I want to ask like a personal question. Sometimes, like, how was your friendship development? Like, because some people only want to be cool with you because you're in the spotlight or you're getting this attention. Was it hard to have like really true friends back then, or people that you can call like a true friend?
Well, I was very blessed to have a group of friends in my hometown. We call ourselves the Posse. Shout out to the Posse.
All right.
And my parents initially didn't understand it because they felt like a group with a name is a gang. In their mind, like she's in a gang. And I'm like, no, it's not a gang. Right? We just call ourselves the Posse.
They didn't put you in a gang, girl. Gang, gang.
And my parents literally moved out of my city to another city called Wintersville, Ohio, because they just felt like the neighborhood was getting too bad. I'm hanging
Yeah.
out with a gang. You know what I mean? I'm of age to date, you know, now. And so they were my parent. I'm the youngest of three. So I'm the baby. And so they were very, very overprotective of me during that time. And so yeah, it wasn't hard for me to make friends because we had each other, the Posse. And some of them were my cousins, or some of them were cousins
Yeah.
with each other. So we were all kind of related, and it was deep rooted. It was more than just friends because we're cousins too. And so when I got to college, it was kind of like either you're going to be a loyal friend, or if not, I got loyal friends at home, you know. And as I
Right.
started having a little success at North Carolina, we won a national championship. So now there's new friends coming on, and I had to have a lot of discernment. I had to quickly be able to
Yeah.
discern if this person is in my life to date me. Is this person in my life to like really be my friend or to take advantage of me? And so after college, I played in 16 different countries. So especially abroad, if I ever met anyone, I had to have the ability to discern very quickly, like, what is this person's agenda? Are they a season, a reason, or lifetime friend? Right. And so for me, if you weren't in my life for the right reason, okay, no new friends right now. Like I've got my friends, right? Until I
Right.
was able to, and I have a group of friends that I made in college and in high school. So, when you have a certain level of success, it is hard to know who you can trust, who you can't
Yeah.
trust, you know?
Yeah.
And so the good thing is that I have friends who knew me before any of this ever happened. Like when I just was playing red light, green light, running down the street, and they're still in my life to this very day. We're still very connected. We're intentional about being connected. And it gets hard, as you grow. Like some of them have had children, some of them are grandparents, some of them have had job changes. We've moved to different cities, different
Hmm.
even.
Hmm.
And so you evolve and you grow. And what keeps us connected, really, the biggest thing was the bond that we had when we were in high school. So it's really hard to get to know the new version of me, the new version of them, And so we're intentional about staying in touch so that we can get to know the new version of ourselves outside of the nicknames that we had back in the day, and it's beautiful. It's been beautiful to kind of watch the relationship develop, and it wasn't
Hmm.
always smooth. Like we've had some fallouts and we've had some fights and we got back together as friends, and but that's nothing new. We were like that when we were younger, and the fact that we're kind of related, relatives, helps it out a little bit because, you fall out with your family all the time, but at the end of the day, that's your family, So,
Right. Right. And I asked that because I would just find it to be kind of difficult to really get true, genuine friendships because of your success. And, sometimes when you have gifts and talents, and I say that because the Lord has blessed me, I can sing and I have gifts and talents with that. And sometimes I'm like, are they really like trying to be friendly because they want me to do something for them or singing this or do that? Or are they really genuine? And, I would question that a lot. And so, with you being in the success arena, I was just wondering if, people would be really genuine with you, or if it was a lot of, just wanting to get in with you because, um,
yeah,
with
but
you going
people,
to,
I will
I'm
say
good.
this, Wanda, people
Mhm.
show you who they are. If you just spend time with them, they will eventually show you exactly who they are. And then it's your job to believe them the first time.
Exactly.
Sometimes we'll see something and we're like, nah, we'll keep on. And then to the point where we get hurt. And then when we look
Yeah.
back, we're like, you know what? I saw that. I saw that and I didn't want to believe it. So I think I've got a good handle on that now.
Yeah,
It-
giving the
it-
benefit of the doubt is what I call, I'll be giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to, but like you said, and I'm at that point being in my older age that once somebody show you who they are, girl, I believe them. I'll be like, okay, I got you. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
And my
Now,
sister, my
okay,
sister
go ahead.
really helped me with this. She wrote a
Mhm.
book with a bunch of her friends, and it was called I can't remember the name of the book, but it talked about how you got to know who's on stage with you, who's in the audience, and who's in the balcony of your arena. And the arena is your life,
Oh,
right? So there's some
okay.
people who are on stage, like they are backstage behind the curtain, and they are helping you recite your lines. Even if you forget it, they're like, "I said that." They're whispering the lines so that you can win and be successful, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
and those are your closest friends. They want you to win. They celebrate your wins. And then there are people who are like on the front row in the VIP section. So they're not on stage, but they're in the crowd and they're cheering for you. They really want the best for you. And they showed up. And then there are some people who they are not on stage, they're not in the front row, they belong in
Mm-hmm.
the balcony. They don't deserve an up and close personal look into your life. But they can be at the show and they can watch. So they
Mm-hmm.
follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm never going to block anybody, not even my enemies, because I want you to see the progress, right? um,
Right.
but you got to know where people sit. And some people, I realize this is the biggest lesson I learned. This is why I won't let you move on, Fonda. But
Ah,
realize that there's some people who need me in their lives, but they can't reciprocate the same help that I give them or the same advice that I give them. They can't help me in that same arena. You know what I mean? So I'm
right.
remain in their life for the reason that God brought me in their life to help them. But I have to make a mental note, like they can never reciprocate that. And I can't be mad at them, hold that against them. They just don't have the capacity to do that. Not at this age
Right.
of their life. Now they can grow into another space in time, but in this moment in time, this is where I have to categorize this person, and when you do that, that helps protect your heart. That helps you, you know what I mean? So you're not bitter because you helped them, but they're not helping you, or you promoted their stuff, you shared their stuff, but they didn't share your stuff. Like they don't have the audience that you have. They don't have the platform that you have, And so some of that happens. And I once I get a handle on that, like, okay, I'm in this person's life to push them and challenge them and make them better. But they're
Right.
not in my life for that reason. That's not they don't serve that purpose.
I look at life, especially as I've gotten older, because you mature as you get older. We all have a purpose. God has given all of us a purpose, and He's given us people that are supposed to be in our lives, that we're supposed to, like you said, help, and then people that are supposed to help us. And I look at when I looked at you and you were up and you were talking at that conference and you were sharing, and I know a lot of times we build from experience. So I wanted to ask you, with your experience in traveling abroad, seeing other cultures, playing basketball in that arena over in the other countries, what was that experience like for you? Did you learn a lot? Did you learn to appreciate, you know, being a U.S. citizen, or would have liked to have maybe moved over there? I mean, what was that experience like for you in that?
The number one lesson that I learned is that there is no place like home.
Okay.
We often say, like, I'm going back, back to Africa or wherever you think you're from. You want
Right.
to just go back there and get out of the US. But I've spent time in other countries. And I'm literally, when my plane touched down in the US, I literally like either cried, clapped, or wanted to kiss the ground. Like literally.
Really?
I would live in these countries sometimes for like 8 months or 10 months, So this wasn't like a month trip where it's all tourists, you get to see all the tourist sites.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was like ordering at restaurants, and I was going to the grocery store where they held up a rack of meat, and I had to be able to pronounce in their language whether I want the breast, the leg, the thigh, of that meat. And so yeah, I learned a lot. Like I became very diverse. I learned how to
Yeah.
get along with anybody. You could put me with any group of people and I could survive. And so I've been in a city in Spain where I was the only Black or colored person in my whole city. I'm talking the dogs would be staring at me. Like somebody would be walking their dog and the dog would be like, what? And the owner would be dog like, stop staring at her, and the dog would be like, and I'm big too. So the dog would be like, what the heck?
Girl, I'm laughing at that. Lord Jesus, the dog being like, well, who the
Babies would be like, mom, like mama. Every country, every language, And so, and I really had to be confident and secure with who I am with everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody in the town is staring at me because they've never seen a Black woman, let alone a 6'5" Black woman. And I'll throw on some heels in a minute, right? So now I'm 7 foot. They're like, what in the world
Like,
is
what
this?
the what? Oh, wow.
Experienced racism where I got spit hawkers on during the game. So the crowd was up high and the court was down low. And every time I came out of the game, I'm talking literally spitting on my face, on my body. Yes, to the point where they had to stop the game, take us to the locker room. My team apologized for the behavior of the fans. They said that this is not how all people are in our country. We are sorry. And they gave me the choice. They said, do you want to finish the game or not? If you don't, we will all stand with you and we will leave in the middle of the game. And I was like, well, can we reschedule this game at our place? And they're like, no, it just will be like a forfeit. but they were willing to do that. I said,
Ooh.
no, we're going to play the game, but I don't want those people spitting on me no more. So security came in and surrounded the court. We finished the game. My teammates huddled around me as we walked to the locker room so no one would spit on me. Yeah, I'll face stuff like that. In Italy, I played for a team that was mafia owned, and the head mafia guy loved dark-skinned Black women with red lipstick.
Yeah.
So my interpreter would say, the owner is going to pick you up at 6 o'clock for a banquet. You must wear a black dress, and oh yes, don't forget the red lipstick. Like, what? Red lipstick for what? And
Girl, for real.
yes, he took me everywhere with him. I would be in this private plane. I would be like, I have practice right now, right? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. When they pass you the ball, just shoot it. I was like, okay, I can do that. I've played in Korea where I played on a championship team. So we got a new bus. Every championship team gets a new bus for their team. And I had to be outside early for the bus ceremony. And so this is after practice. I'm showering and they're rushing me with my shower. I'm like, can y'all give me 15 minutes to get dressed? Like it takes me time,
Right.
So out there, child, there was a pig's head on the dashboard of the bus with his eyes open and a snout just looking at me. And they wanted me to rub these, it was like somebody's bracelet, but it was, had to rub these beads and chant and bow to this pig while I said this chant. I said, I'm not doing that. They said, no, you must do that so we'll have safe travels. I said, listen, I'm not bowing to no pig. That's against my religious beliefs. They were like, well, they're like, just bow and just say something so you can get on the bus. I said, not. Y'all could throw me in the fiery furnace with the 3 Hebrew boys if you want. I'm not bowing to no pig. So I get on the bus and my agent called me. She said, Sylvia, what are you doing? They called me. They don't want you there anymore. I was like, I'm not bowing to no pig. I don't care. She said, Sylvia, you better ball out in this game that you're going to. I need 25 points and 25 rebounds, and you better pray that bus don't break down. I was like, dear Heavenly Father.
Girl, wait a minute, though. Really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And so when it comes down now to pricing what I do, because I really struggle with that. Like I do, you saw me speaking. So I do public speaking all the time.
Yeah.
And when people ask me my fee, I really used to struggle with how much to charge people until I had someone ask me, she said, what does it cost to be you? She said, you can't think about how much time it costs to make whatever, or if you are consulting, somebody calls you and they want help with their life plan. She said, it costs to be you, Sylvia, and you can't do this stuff for free. And so she said, when you were overseas, let me ask you this. You said you played in 16 different countries. How many funerals did you miss while you were over there? And I said, what? A lot. She said, how many weddings did you miss while you were over there? I said, yeah, I missed some weddings. She said, how many birthday parties of your niece did you miss? I was like, yeah, I was out of commission. She said, how many family reunions did you not get to go to because you were playing basketball? It costs you. And so while the rest of your family is dealing with a funeral and they're all grieving together, you're abroad navigating grieving by yourself. It costs to be you. And so no longer does anybody get to call you for 1 hour of your time and pay nothing, because it took you 52 years to learn what you've learned, the knowledge and wisdom that you have. Nobody can just call you and pick your brain for free and it costs you. That's not fair. And so once I really got a grasp of that, like, Fonda, you paid for this podcast, right?
I did.
And you were like, wait a minute, I'm trying to book on your calendar, but it's making me, PayPal was coming up.
Girl, I paid twice by accident. I was like, Lord, I need my other money back.
Oh no, you paid twice. I can give you a refund. But
no, they gave it to me.
it costs for me to, like, I take care of my octogenarian parents. They're in their 80s.
Yeah.
And so time they can never get back. So my mom was waiting on this podcast to end so I could take her to get a new car. She wants to car shop. But there's the time that I spent away from them is time that they'll never get back. Those are precious memories. So yeah, it costs to be me. And so I used to just do all these calls, and people be in my LinkedIn inbox like crazy. Can you meet?
I
You want to
bet.
chat? You want to do a coffee chat? I'm like, yeah, here's my link. It's going to cost because I can't do this all day long. And I look up, my day is gone. I ain't made a dime. Like I got responsibilities. And
Right.
so once I got a hold of that, because being overseas abroad, I was out of commission and I missed a lot of things, a lot of activities. And we didn't have the internet that back then, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
That's
Because then I
true.
would see all the stuff like Thanksgiving. If you're overseas right now, like these current players, they're
Right.
overseas during Thanksgiving. And all we doing is posting all our food and cooking our collard greens and all the little stuff that's on social media. And they over there homesick because they can't eat collard greens and they can't have candy yams and peach cobblers and all the bad foods that we're eating. And then Christmas, some of them don't get to come home for Christmas even. And so people open up their gifts and people getting engaged on Christmas and a lot of people lose loved ones during the holidays, but they're overseas and they're dealing with that on their own. Right. And so
Right.
it's a hard life. It's a good life. I
Mhm.
made a lot of money. I met a lot of people. So I don't want to just make it all negative because I experienced a lot of stuff. I learned how to speak 4 different languages. I've met people from the Pope to Muhammad Ali. I met him in Germany. I met Louis
Oh.
Farrakhan in Germany. Both of them were in the airport and I like literally shook their hand. Like that was one of my highlights. Like
Oh,
Muhammad
wow. Yes.
So along my travels, I met some incredible people, and God has given me unbelievable favor to like dignitaries in these countries, like the head president of my team is like flying me around in his private plane, taking me to Sicily. So it was an incredible journey, but it
Wow.
cost me a lot too.
I can imagine. So I gotta say this though. I did have someone invest in me for this. And I want to say thank you to that particular person. I'm not going to call her name, but I appreciate her investing in me because I said, this year I wanted to step it up a notch. And I was talking about you and I was talking about, oh yeah, she was this and she said that and she said this. And I said, and then she does do shows and she has a fee and and she's like, Fonda, she's like, you want her? I said, I do. And so she invested in me. And so that's how we here.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm thankful to her and I appreciate that. But I get exactly what you're saying. You sacrificed, a lot, to do what you do or did, you sacrificed a lot. And so you lost some things that you could never regain.
Mhm.
But what I appreciated about you most is that, you gave glory and honor to God for the things that you had achieved in your life at that conference. And I wanted to talk about something that you had mentioned when you did the slam dunk competition and you won that and you told the story behind it. And if you could just give us a little short scenario of that, I thought that was so amazing.
Yeah. So my sister, and you're talking about somebody who invested in you. My sister is somebody who invests in me countless times and is one of the most inspirational people that I've looked up to. Like most of my heroes come from my very own home. And a lot of people can't say that, but my sister is definitely one of those people. So at the event for the blindfold dunk, it was the all-star game of the ABL. This was the American Basketball League, and this was a league that existed before the WNBA did. And so at halftime of this all-star game, they had a slam dunk contest. Now they said, in order for us to have this dunk contest, we need at least 6 contestants. It can't just be 3 of y'all. That's not a dunk contest, right? So we have 5 people who can dunk. And then myself and one of my teammates from North Carolina, Charlotte Smith, we taught Carol Walters how to dunk one year during USA basketball. So that gave us the 6th person that can do it. So we were able to have this dunk contest. And so I have practiced countless times on how to do this dunk. I was in Denver, Colorado at the time. I was playing for Colorado Explosion, but I lived in the same complex as some of the Denver Nuggets, some of the Denver Broncos, I'm sorry, from the football team. A couple of the Nuggets lived there, but most of them had their own houses. But some of the football players, the younger ones, lived in my complex. And so we were in the gym and they were like, okay, what kind of dunk you gonna do? You gonna do a 360 windmill? I was like, no, I can't do all of that. They're like, what about between the legs? And I was like, I can't do that. They said, what kind of dunk you gonna do? I said, a right-handed dunk. I'm gonna jump off my left leg and dunk with my right hand. And they said, what kind of dunks are the other girls gonna do? I said, the same right-handed dunk. We all just we doing good to just be able to dunk, right? They said, oh, you gotta have some kind of trick. So we come up with this blindfolded dunk, right? Now, the blindfold was one of those gel eye packs. You ever see like a eye patch that has the eyes open, but it's gel and it's for your bags under your eyes?
Oh yeah, I'm a Mary Cake or something, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what it was. It was had green little gel inside. Well, my mom is a seamstress, so my mom took some black sheer fabric and she covered it over the blindfold. And when I put it on, I said, I could see everything. I said, can y'all see my eyes? They were like, no, we can't see your eyes at all. And they were like jumping up. They're like, what am I doing? I was like, you doing this, you jumping over. I could see everybody and I could see the basket. And I was like, we're going to trick the world with this blindfold, right? So the day of the blindfold dunk contest, they gave us a little gym where we can practice. Now, mind you, I have practiced so much that my fingers are calloused and red and just hard all the way to this day. My hands are a little bit hard right here from dunking so much. But I had an incident where a piece of the paint, the orange paint from the rim, got stuck in my finger. I had to go to the hospital, get it removed. They had taped my finger. We didn't even know if I was going to be able to be in the contest in time, right?
Right.
So all my fingers are taped up. I was like, oh, I'm going to be in this dunk contest. I don't care if my fingers are falling off. So the day of the contest, I practiced. I successfully did it twice. And I was like, I'm stopping right here. I don't want to wear my legs out. I feel good about it, And so when the day of the contest, I take 8 big steps out. I close my eyes. My sister puts the blindfold on me right now. Mind you, every other time I practice, I have my eyes open when I put the blindfold on. So now I can see. But this time I close my eyes and my sister puts it on. And now it's too tight and I can't get my eyes open up underneath the blindfold. So now me and my sister are like fighting. Like she's like, oh my gosh, you want me to do it again? I'm like, no, I just throw with it. We talking through our teeth. And Fonda, after she puts it on, now I am nervous. My sister's nervous. She thinks she's blowing it for me, right? And she's one of my biggest supporters. So she's there to support me. And now she had one job and she didn't do it right. So she's nervous and praying. And I'm nervous and praying, but I do a mile-high salute. When I watch the video, I'm cracking up laughing every time I see it. I like go through a gamut of emotions. I'm using my friend's word right there. I'm going through a gamut of emotions because I know how scared I am in that moment. But I have the unique ability, Fonda, to exude confidence even when I'm scared. And the more scared I am, the more confidence I'll exude. It's the strangest thing.
Right.
So that people who are watching, they have no clue that I'm nervous, right? I'm like a duck that's like cruising, but underneath that water, my feet are like,
Right.
So I do my little mile-high salute. I run in, I take my little 4 steps. And now all I could see is down my nose to my feet. I couldn't look up to see the basket. I can just look that like that's the most my eyes could open to look down my nose and to my feet. As I'm dribbling, I see my mark on the floor. I have marked the floor of when to take off.
Gotcha.
See my little mark and I'm like, oh, there's my mark. And I take off 2 steps and I'm praying that I'm near this basket. I'm like, dear Heavenly Father, please. So when I connected with the rim, I'm jumping up and down. I'm cheering louder than everybody in the stands. And my sister is jumping up and down. You see her come over, she get the blindfold from me. We're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And so it's still, when I tell the story that I did have some limited vision, it's still hard to do. Like, you take any guy right now, put a blindfold on him so tight where all he can see down his nose and to his feet, I guarantee you he could not complete that dunk. It was nothing
Wow.
of God, really. Like, God was shining on me that day.
Yes, he was. I love that story. I was like, oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for telling that story. So I wanted to, before we wrap it up, I wanted to, because I do got to wrap it up due to time, but I wanted you to leave us with, because you speak on leadership and confidence and motivation, and I wanted you to leave with us some golden nuggets that could inspire those that may want to go in your shoes. And there may be some young people out here that say, hey, I want to do what she did, I want to go to those levels. Or there may just be some of us regular people out here that just need some encouragement, girl. So if you could leave us with something, some golden nuggets to help inspire and encourage us, I would appreciate that.
I would say the biggest thing that would like to say to anybody, whether that's a leader or even if you're not a leader, I think we're all leaders at some in some aspect.
Yeah.
Whether you lead on social media, whether you lead as a parent, as a teacher, on your job, within your circle of friends. But the biggest takeaway that I want people to get is that you have to learn from lessons. Like, that's the biggest thing. You're not going to do everything perfect. You're going to make some mistakes. If you're in pursuit of being a professional basketball player, or if you are in pursuit of getting a job, if you're in pursuit of being a speaker in front of large crowds, whatever area of life you are in, you have to embrace the fact that you have to learn from lessons. And I said this when I spoke to you guys, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Because you don't lose. People say sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. That doesn't happen. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, because if you learn from the lesson, it's never lost. Right?
Exactly.
And so once you see lessons and mistakes, or what you perceive as failure, all those categories are in the same category for me. So once you see those as stepping stones and not roadblocks, like, that doesn't block you. It's not over. It doesn't stop you. It's just a stepping stone. And you can use it to step and move higher and higher and higher until you achieve what it is you want to achieve. This is how the light bulb was invented. You think they messed up countless times. This is how the airplane was invented. They crashed 100 times before they got it perfected. This is how the tire was invented, which my uncle had a part in that. I have an uncle, Edward Gillum, who was part inventor of how we use the tires today.
Oh.
This is why Steph Curry can miss 10 shots in a row, but then get called upon to shoot that last shot and shoot it with confidence as if he didn't miss the last 10. Because he realized, if I make this shot, we win. If I miss this shot, guess what? I'm going to go watch film, see what they did to stop me. I'm going to come to practice, reenact it, and the next time I get the opportunity, we will win. So it's a win-win, even when you lose, even when you fail, even when you make a mistake. And the reason why I chose to close on this, and this is in my book, and it's called The Confidence Playbook. And you can buy my book on Amazon. It will bless you. I'm telling you. There are people that think like, oh, I don't lack confidence, but my niece needs this book. No. If you're ever nervous before taking an exam, or if you're ever nervous before speaking in front of a crowd, if you're ever nervous before a podcast, if you're ever nervous to like meet somebody famous, if you're ever nervous before playing a sport, like, I can go on and on and on and on, give you examples of just like feeling nervous, not feeling confident before you do something, then this book is for you. It will help you. But I chose this one because this is one that I'm dealing with today. Like, the messenger, anytime somebody writes a book, preaches a sermon, or gives a speech, you better believe they have dealt with it 10 times over before they ever speak it to you.
Yes.
So this is one that I'm still dealing with right now in my life. Like, I've been going after some stuff. I had some goals and I didn't achieve it. And for me, that's hard because I'm very accomplished. Like, I've won the national championships. I won the gold medals. I win. All I do is win in my mind. So when I don't win, When I don't win, I'm like, what happened? I did
Yeah,
this. I got my little formula, but it's like, it's a lesson. And so I have to sit down and say, okay, Sylvia, what is the lesson that God is trying to show you right now? Like, you got to just put your big girl panties on and look at it, really look at it. And how can you learn from this? What's 3 things that you learned from not getting or accomplishing what you sought after, right? And then if you learn the lesson, you can put it together the next time you do it, you're going to get that part right. And so
gotcha.
when you
Hmm.
embrace this, it eliminates the fear of failure. It eliminates that. Some people won't even try because they're afraid they might fail. So they don't want to put their full self out there. They don't want to believe wholeheartedly. It's like, I'm a ask, but you probably gonna say no. And if you say no, it's okay. No, don't do that. Don't make that an option. Like, wholeheartedly believe that it's gonna happen. And don't, so that
Exactly.
some people want to be like, well, I kind of knew it wasn't gonna happen. So they can save face, protect their heart. No, put it all out there. Do everything you know to do. Believe with your whole heart that it's going to happen. Have faith. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't happen, we're going to deal with that when it comes. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it wasn't meant for you. Maybe you dodged a bullet. Maybe God got something better for you. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to
Maybe timing wasn't right.
you gotta
I
look at the
believe.
brighter side of it and not try to protect your heart. And that's something that I deal with quite often, quite often. But at the end of the day, if I don't quit, I normally will get what I'm trying to get. And so learn from lessons. And when you do that, that breeds confidence. That will give you the
Yeah,
confidence to try again because it's just a lesson. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And I learned this time, but I'm going to keep learning until I win.
that's right. That's right. You know what? And that's so true. Lessons are to be learned. You learn from, your lesson.
You learn from mistakes, you learn from lessons, you learn from failures, what people perceive as failures. Like, one of the biggest thing that I perceived as a failure, when the ABL filed bankruptcy. So that was the league that I won the blindfold dunk in. So it filed bankruptcy and shut down. The WNBA was forming. The WNBA was in existence for 1 year, and the
Hmm.
league folded. And so they said, all right, there's 90 of you who lost your jobs. We got 20 spots open for you 90. They put a jersey on our backs with a number and said, may the best 20 win. So we got in that camp and we fought each other like cats and dogs. We all knew each other. We were all friends. But it was like, either I'm going to eat or you going to eat. So we were in there fighting for our lives, right? Because we had no plan B. We had no resume, no work experience. We just been hooping our whole lives, right? And so I was not one of the 20 who made it. They had a draft. 3 rounds of a draft, and the draft came and went, and my name was never called. My family was calling me on my phone, and I was face down on a carpet crying. I had a draft party. My agent had called to find out where they predicted I would be drafted. They said, oh, about second round. We don't think she'll go first round, but for sure she'll get drafted second round, not the third round. Second round, third round came, my name wasn't called. I was like, what happened? I kicked everybody out of my house that was at the party. We got pizza, pop, everybody out. I'm on the carpet, face down, like,
Mm.
what is my life plan? Basketball is clearly not it. What do you want me to do in this life? My family's like, are you all right? I'm not answering the phone. And so my agent sent me to Italy. He said, don't give up the dream. We're going to put you in Italy. You keep working on your skills. The feedback that I got from coaches is that I wasn't strong enough, that I was too thin.
Mm.
The WNBA was a more physical game and they didn't think I could make it. And so I needed to get stronger. And so I went to Italy and I worked on my game and I lift weights. I never did gain weight. I never did get stronger. I just came back with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm going to make this, give me a shot. And I'm going to prove to y'all,
If you could do it.
I changed agents is what happened. I met an agent overseas and she was like, what are you doing over here? You should be playing in the league. She's like, who's your agent? They're not connected enough. You got to know somebody. You can't just have somebody who represents people in the NFL or Major Baseball League. Like, you have to know people in the WNBA. And she was like, I know the player personnel. So she got me invited to a training camp in Portland because that's where she was from. And this was a new franchise. They were like, okay, we got no starters, so it's wide open here. And that was a blessing in disguise for me, because had I got drafted to the Sparks, Lisa Leslie was over there. You're not starting over her. That's her squad. Had I went to the Houston Comets, that's Tina Thompson's team. You ain't starting over her. She's an Olympian.
Girl. And I hate to cut you off, but the system is about to cut us off, girl, in like 30 seconds. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. I wish I had a little bit more time, but I got to go with the time that they give me here. And this has been an hour. But much love to you, baby Case. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're rooting for you. Shoot me the information about that book, because I want to get that book information out there. All right.
Well, thank you for having
so
me.
much. Much love. My Curvy Life thanks you.
And My Curvy Life Show.
Give it to her. 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 Now slide to the beat like